Oh, we're going?
Yeah.
This is the podcast where you win some, you lose some, as long as the outcome is income.
Oi.
Welcome to HQLA.
Hey, that's good. I reckon that's good. I reckon we go with that.
All right, let's get into it.
Okay.
Nathan, tell us a story.
All right. So this week I went for my ELS course for my motorbike license, right? So I can drive a car, and I thought, it might be good to be able to drive a motorbike as well. So the intention is to maybe find a little rental house in town, ride my motorbike into uni, into work, stuff like that.
It's
so
the lifestyle you need.
That's the lifestyle I'm after. So that's the intention, and it was good. It was 2 evening sessions that are all about 3 or 4 hours, and some of it was in the rain, in the dark. So it was a bit hectic, but it was a good crew. It was about, I think there was 5 of us, and I was there with.
Oh yeah, it was in the
mate.
rain in the dark.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
It's in the car park. There's some lights and stuff, but it's yeah, it's less than ideal. But you're not always going to get perfect conditions, so it was a good example of that. And so yeah, it was a good experience. I feel like I went from never being able to I've never really touched a motorbike that you ride on the road before, maybe a dirt bike twice, and so it went from absolute novice to slightly less of a novice.
Where would you rate yourself in the scale of kookiness?
Yeah?
Yeah, with that maximum. Obviously, Luke surfing is the 10 out of 10, and
Luke's
surfing is the I'm kidding. Is the kookiest of kooks.
I'm going to tag him in this podcast.
No, don't do that.
if it was a 10, if it was a 1 to 10, I would say I started off as a 1. Yeah, I could sit on it and it wouldn't fall over kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then I reckon I'm now a 2.5 to 3.
Okay, it'd be a 0 if you couldn't sit on it and you couldn't make it not fall over.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Double negative. Apologies. Luke, do you have a funny story?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Tell us about your ideal Sunday morning this time instead of your ideal Saturday morning.
It's just like Saturday, but it's on Sunday.
It's on
Yes.
Sunday.
Do the same thing again.
It comes before Monday and after Saturday. That's my ideal Sunday morning.
Oh,
Coffee.
you know the other thing we should mention? We have been to this location before, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So for all those long-time viewers, probably more viewers, listeners, it's not going to make any difference to you, but for the viewers on YouTube, we are in the same location that we're at for maybe episode 2.
Episode 2, yeah.
And we had to pack up because it was raining, but we were facing the opposite direction. But we thought we'd come back and we would prove that we can tackle the hill.
We should mention this is the Newcastle Obelisk, and
it is
the 20th of February, episode 6 of HQLA.
Yeah, 6 episodes. How do you think it's going?
I mean, we've definitely gotten better.
I think so.
Episode 2 kind of sucked. Episode 1 sucked more.
Episode 2. That was we ended up at the baths.
Yeah, actually, I liked that. It had we had lemonade. We were talking about lemonade and
was cool.
Snowflake. There's a couple of good
Palantir.
companies there. Palantir.
I know
We
we
talked
found-
about Palantir in the first episode.
What's going on with Palantir? I feel like it's peaked.
I was wearing that
Has it
shirt.
peaked?
Went up
No.
13% last night.
It was
Oh,
wasn't it
did
more
it?
than that?
Yeah, but it
Okay.
went down
But
40%
it's been going
in the
down a lot
last
in the
3
last-
days before
yeah,
that.
okay.
So, in its defense,
Okay.
the share lockup for employees ended the day before yesterday.
Yep.
And so it was running down it ran down on bad news. Earnings was worse than expected, but revenue was
really?
better.
Okay.
So it ran down more than 10% in a
Yep.
day
Yeah, right.
from
Okay.
bad news. But
Yep.
it ran down more because the day after earnings was the employee lockup,
Yep.
because the public information, obviously. So when the employees could get rid of their shares, they did, because
Yep.
obviously it's smart to diversify, even if you're going down in the...
What's this lockup? Is it a period of time?
Yeah, so because what happens with the US shares
Mhm.
is they often get paid bonuses in
Yep.
shares,
Yep.
and they have to they have a certain period where they can't sell
Okay.
their shares
Yep.
until
Would that be are we talking a year or
no, it's certain weeks. So within 2 weeks,
okay.
within a month and 2 weeks.
of reports coming out
Yeah.
or whatever? Okay, yeah,
So
that makes sense.
yeah, the period ended, 31st of December or whatever.
Yeah.
Then they can't sell their shares until the middle of February,
Yeah, okay.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then they have
That makes
3
a lot of
weeks to
sense.
sell their shares,
Yeah.
and then the next period ends or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah.
There you go. We
Yeah.
learned something.
Yeah.
Lock up.
Let's go for a transitional sound. Luke, do a little dance. Make the sound. Make the transition
Yeah,
sound.
give us your music.
Dun, dun, dun.
All right. So your recap. Sorry, you should probably
How
say it
many
again.
how many listeners do you think? We've got our one listener. We're actually interviewing we're interviewing our listener today.
It's nice to have our full audience with us tonight.
Yeah. So I want to go straight into the
Yes.
GME Robinhood saga.
Yes.
This
Tell
is,
us. What do you know?
There's a lot of info here.
What's the
and
info?
and I've got some really good bit of recap because I was talking about
Yes.
this in 2 episodes ago, I should say.
Mate, things are
Episode
changing
4,
quick.
Episode
and so
4, I talked about this. This
I
is
like it.
episode 6
It
once
is.
again.
All
So we've got a bit of a deposition going on at the moment. It's actually a bit of a legal case situation
Okay.
between and there's a whole bunch of interesting parties, I should say.
Okay, yeah.
So there's a couple of they're getting interviewed by senators and Congress and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so there are 5 kind of key players here.
Okay.
There is Vlad, who is
Yep.
the CEO of Robinhood.
Yep.
Now he has been kind of villainized on the internet, especially by
Yeah.
Wall Street Bets.
Yeah.
Big idiot.
So he's been
As we can see.
called a big idiot by one of the fans
Yep.
of GameStop. Actually, a shareholder, our only shareholder in the group today.
Really?
Yes.
What was the buy-in price, Luke?
$40.
Hey, that's pretty good.
What? What is it now?
$50 or something.
Why do you still own it?
I don't.
So you were a
did.
shareholder.
I was a shareholder.
What'd you sell it at?
But don't tell anyone.
What'd you sell it at?
It's on a podcast.
150,
150.
and then I bought back in at 360.
See, it's the second move that always gets you.
and
You
then
should just stick with the
but
first move. I've done
with
this
my
before.
first move,
Yeah.
I bought 5 shares,
Okay.
and with my second move, I bought 1 share.
Okay. Right.
So,
Out of the money that you made from
well,
your
yes,
5 shares.
it was all profits from the first share.
Oh, okay. Right.
But
and then so you bought at what price? Sorry, the second time.
360 or
And
something.
then it didn't
like
go up from there.
that. And then I sold it for $100.
Okay, so then you got your $100 back.
But
So you made $100
original
in profit.
$550 profit
You made 100.
went towards my second GameStop investment.
Yes, and then you sold that for 100. So you, of that 500, you've got 100 left.
No, 360.
No, he only bought 1 share the second time.
270. I went down 260
Okay.
and I went up 550.
Okay. So what was your net profit?
290
290.
US.
Perfect.
We've got our resident maths guy
Love
over
Quick
here.
math. Quick math.
I would definitely be checked on that multiple times if I was doing that.
Yeah.
So we've got Vlad, our CEO of Robinhood.
Perfect.
So
And
Robinhood,
then his twin brother. No,
yeah,
sorry.
and his twin brother.
Sorry,
yeah,
got
yeah.
in too quick there.
That's actually the next joke. If you couldn't say that, that'd be good. So we've got Keith Gill is known as Roaring Kitty, otherwise known as DFV, which is deep flipping value on
But not
on
flipping.
Reddit. But yeah, except the F word.
But we don't say that because we don't want the little E. It's a family-friendly show. so
Yeah,
it's good.
yeah, true. The
I like
little
it.
E
I
on
like
the
the
podcast
censorship.
app. Yeah, I know
Maybe you
what
should
you're talking
just put the beep in, just so people think you said the F word. Sorry.
about. We
Continue.
have deep value as one of the things.
Oh, no, I'm going to have to do that.
No,
I
it's
do the audio.
No, it's beeped.
Don't stuff it up.
Yeah,
Oh.
I'm going to have to beep it, aren't I?
Yeah, that's all right.
Okay.
Just don't forget.
Okay.
If we, it'd be funny if we both didn't realize and like we just had.
And then my dad watches it.
Yeah.
Sorry, continue.
We don't want Dad getting the wrong ideas. So yeah. Anyway, so DFV of Reddit. So the guy that made $50 million
Yes.
off this GameStop move, he's being he's also part of the deposition. We've got Melvin Capital's CEO. This is the evil representing of evil hedge funds.
Yeah.
You
That's
know.
3, yeah.
Yeah, and then we got Ken from Citadel Securities. He's the
Oh, yeah.
head of Citadel.
Yeah.
And we've also got Steve Huffman, the Reddit CEO. So,
okay.
so yeah, it's
There
an
you go.
interesting mix of people. They're kind of the
Cool.
5
Yep.
key players in this deposition.
Awesome.
So, one of the things that I didn't mention last time,
Okay.
and it was definitely a consideration, is that Robinhood were actually required to have a higher level of capital.
Yes.
So it was one of those, from what I've been led to believe, is
Mhm.
one of those late night phone calls that you get where the clearinghouse says you have to have this much money if you're going to keep
Yep.
letting GameStop trade.
Yep.
So it's one of those crazy ones.
Yep.
So the clearinghouse required a certain level of capital for them.
Yep.
And they just didn't have enough capital. So this is where they brought in
True.
$3.2 billion of extra loans
Yes.
just to cover where they were at.
Who
And
is this clearinghouse?
So the clearinghouse, this is interesting because the clearinghouse is actually, it gets a little, the mechanics of it get interesting
Okay.
because the clearinghouse isn't the same thing as the, so the clearinghouse is Robinhood Securities or whatever.
Ah.
Um,
Okay.
and the the investor, like Robinhood trading, is like the app that people use, right?
Yeah.
But behind the clearinghouse is the regulatory body which switches. So here in Australia, it's called Austraclear.
Okay. Yeah.
Or I mean, that's for bonds and stuff. I don't know what the regular market one is called.
Okay.
But so there's actually like a government body behind, not government body, but there's like a regulatory level that they're required to have by, not, it's like a in-between intermediary between different clearinghouses.
Yep.
So they required more capital.
Yep.
And from my understanding, I don't think Vlad was allowed to say that. So I don't know what you saw, but
okay, so there's like a NDA.
Yeah. So he's been restricted from saying anything about it.
And
I
he
think.
can't even talk about his NDA? It's
so
like an NDA of his NDA?
So for those of us that don't know what that means, it's non-disclosure agreement, and it's a legal thing that says he's not allowed to talk about it. So I thought that was kind of a
that is interesting.
kind of a cool one.
Yeah, because like I also heard a little bit of this conversation, and it was kind of like I think it was Chamath and some of those guys on his podcast. Jason. They were talking about how some of his responses were like so coy from the actual question asked, and their hypothesis was, well, he might have an NDA of his NDA, so like he can't even say, oh, sorry, like I can't speak about that. Yeah. He has to say something to just fill in the gaps, because he can't even say that he can't talk about it. I don't know.
Yeah, but also it could be some serious damage control media kind of. He probably has a PR agent that's kind of telling him what to say.
Absolutely.
And so she's coached him in every possible question they could ask.
Hearing this, I feel a little bit sorry for him.
That was a bit sexist.
Yeah, you've got to feel a bit sorry for him. I mean, here's a guy he's just like a tech guy, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't know how
doing
to do
his best.
PR. Like he didn't learn this stuff at uni or whatever he did in his studies. So
so I've actually looked into him a bit. He's a quant. So,
there you go.
So that's just an insane maths dude.
Yeah. So the poor guy's just doing his best. So he's all right.
Yeah.
What'd you say? Did you say he was stupid or something?
I called him a big idiot.
Okay. Do you take that back, or you stand by that?
How are your feelings?
That was in the past. I'll just leave it there.
Okay.
You still have a slight resentment for.
I mean, would have been good if
you had a lot before.
If everyone kept buying it when I bought in at 360 the other day.
That's your only problem.
Fair enough. Well, okay.
So since it was trading at 20 billion per day, the strict GameStop
like the volume?
GameStop's volume was 20 billion.
Wow.
So yeah, because
do you have any idea of like what that is in comparison to other things?
Well, Tesla was 19 on the same day, 27th of January,
which is still an awkward comparison, because that's still awkwardly high compared to anything else. Right?
and then
like
then
what's
the next,
normal, like 5 billion.
Oh,
I don't know.
yeah, but then you get Apple, which is like obviously super standard as the highest traded kind of thing, and that's like 15, 16 kind of vibe.
Cool.
And then you've got your standard as like Bank of America's, all that kind of stuff, which I assume are about 5. I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know
really, but
could be.
Yeah, someone write a review on Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, put it in the comments.
Yeah, put it in the comments and give us 1 star so that it looks more real.
Oh, no, don't give us 1 star.
No, give 5. 5. I meant 5. I get them confused.
6.
Give them 7 stars. So Citadel are in there because they're trading on both sides.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting one. They have to do the long and short positions for other institutions.
Mm-hmm.
So they're actually they're a clearinghouse in themselves, and they have a huge conflict of interest there.
Yep.
Something else to consider is the T+2 settlement system.
Yeah.
So that's obviously where that liquidity requirement was from.
Yeah, and Vlad is very much against it, right?
Yeah. He wants instant settlement, but
so that's obviously like it's like 2 days of clearing time or whatever before the funds are.
Yeah.
Or before the trade's made, or before the funds are.
So when you buy something, you instantly transfer share certificates.
Yep.
And this is I'm talking 1920s. It made sense.
Yeah.
Because it took that long to go to the bank, write a check, walk down the street, go to the next bank. Then the bank manager has to go and phone the other bank and make sure that it's a very manual process.
Yeah.
So that's why and then it takes two days to physically carry the cash over to the other bank.
And then we've just upheld that for some reason.
Yeah, well, it's an interesting one because I think it's not particularly bad because it can kind of make sure. I don't know. I think it encourages a bit more activity, which could be good in some cases, I guess.
Okay, but Vlad seems to be not on
No.
that side. He appears to be against it.
So the great part, I don't know how other brokers work, but the great part with it on CommSec is that you can make a trade. Say you get paid on Wednesday.
Yeah.
You can make a trade on Monday.
Yeah.
With money you don't have yet.
Yeah.
And then when you get paid, you can transfer into that account.
Yeah.
And you've got the share at a cheaper price potentially.
Yeah.
And so, that can be an advantage.
Yeah.
At the same time, you probably shouldn't be trading with money you don't have yet.
That's true.
I don't know. That's just my kind of
Nah, don't be stupid.
Yeah, anyway, it looks like... sorry. It was a silly idea.
Okay, good.
So it looks like Keith is actually getting hit, which is DFV.
Keith.
He's
yes, yep,
he's,
okay, yeah, we know who that is.
Yeah, Roaring Kitty is getting slammed with a bit of...
Roaring Kitty, what does that mean? Is that another handle?
That's his YouTube. So he actually does stock tutorial kind of things.
Oh, right.
And so he does that on YouTube and does a bit of analysis and that kind of thing.
So you were saying that he had been speaking on his YouTube channel for quite some time.
I think a couple of years. Yeah.
About GameStop. Right.
Yeah, and but not a couple of years about GameStop, but he's been doing analysis for a couple of years.
Yeah,
I think he's been talking about GameStop since last year though.
Okay.
So
yeah.
Sometime in 2020 he picked it up and he really liked it. And
you liked the stock?
He liked the stock. So he finished his deposition, I think, with in short, I like the stock.
Oh.
So it was pretty funny. But
yeah, right.
But his actual charges, he's getting hit potentially with securities fraud, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm not 100% sure on the on the coverage of it. But also we've got Vlad and Keith that look like the exact same person. We had I had a tweet which had a big FU, and then it was removed and it was reposted with the other guy's photo because he accidentally did it too.
Who made the tweet?
It was Davey Day Trader Dave Portnoy.
Oh, yes.
So he immediately slammed him.
Barstool guy.
He slammed the wrong guy. Yeah, the Barstool guy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, who knows what he does. But I'd like to move on to the final segment of
Please
this.
do.
So I'd like to move on to the meme review. The meme review.
Why do all of your segments have memes?
Well, memes are great. So the first one
Memes
we've
are
got.
life.
I'm going to explain
He's
this
a meme
one.
trader, bro.
He's a meme trader.
Meme trader, yeah.
You and Elon.
Yeah, me and Elon. So I'd like to start the first one with there's all different people on the Zoom call for this is hard on the audio, but I'm going to keep it as concise and simple as I can.
Great. Here we
So
go.
we've got a bunch of audience members.
Yeah.
Completely bored. There's the Melbourne Capital guy. There's the Citadel guy. There's Vlad. And then Roaring Kitty comes on the screen, and they're all like, "Woo!" They're all excited and really like pumped up. So there's that one. Moving on quickly from that, as a funny
great.
meme. What do you rate it out of 10? Go.
1.
All right. So that one wasn't great. Let's move on to the next one. We've got
Stick with us.
We've got off-brand. We've got off-brand Honey Nut O's for Vlad and Honey Nut Cheerios for the version of Keith.
Yeah.
The joke once again is that they're
funny.
very similar.
Yeah.
It's it's Aldi brand versus very high quality.
Who's Aldi?
It's Wish brand. When you order Keith off Wish,
who's which?
Obviously DFV is Honey Nut Cheerios and
Right.
Vlad is Honey Nut O's.
Okay.
They both have long hair. They're both
Yeah.
like pretty slender, kind of slim faces. They're both same vibe, same
Been sitting
villain.
inside too much.
Yeah, never been in the sun of
They
their lives.
both look like a bit of a villain. They both got a suit on.
They do.
So
They do.
they both got
I'm
that.
sure they don't mean to, but
Yeah.
they do, unfortunately.
Yeah. Anyway, and then this is quite good. This is a photo, and I don't know how real it is, but it was funny.
Okay.
It was it's GameStop going green as soon as Keith comes on the screen,
Oh.
and they've got the GameStop price. It's on CNBC. They've got the GameStop price next to him,
Yeah.
and they've and yeah, when he comes on the screen, it goes green, and when he goes off the screen, it goes red, which is quite funny. It's very likely that it's real because I would guess that there'd be a lot of memers that would just be selling as soon as he's off screen and then buying as soon as he's... Just because it's funny.
Yeah.
Which, I'd believe it. Oh, yep. And then we got our next section. Don't worry about that. You didn't see anything.
I actually didn't see
You actually didn't see anything. Yeah, good.
All right.
Good response.
it.
Nice.
Excellent.
If we'd like to do a transition sound...
All right. So, company that I've been looking at Sorry?
Do we need to clap here?
No.
Sorry.
No. It's don't worry.
Okay. All right. We're having a lot of fun. All right. So, a company I've been looking at recently is called SoFi. And it's kind of cool because it is it's a SPAC, or it utilizes the SPAC method. So we'll talk about that a bit more, and you'll understand what it means. So basically, this is in the fintech space. So this is a neobank, which is basically trying to disrupt the big banks, corporate kind of hold on the people's money and all this kind of thing. And so the CEO is a guy named Anthony Noto, and he has a great resume, to be honest. He's the former COO of Twitter, former MD at Goldman Sachs, and a former CFO of the National Football League.
He's really done it all.
So
He must be balling out of control.
it's possible.
He's the chief of many things.
He is the chief of many things. So they currently have 1.8 members to date, which is
1.8 members.
1.8 million members.
Oh, yeah, that's better. That sounds like our podcast.
And so yeah, it's very true. And their point of difference is it's not necessarily groundbreaking stuff. It's just taking something that's unrefined, being like the banking system, taking something that isn't necessarily customer focused, and doing the opposite. So they're focusing on speed, selection of opportunities and products, convenience, all on the one app on a phone, things like this. So it's not necessarily groundbreaking in the products that they're providing, but the experience and the way in which they're doing it is, I suppose, their point of difference. So, okay, so I'll take you back to a little bit of history on SoFi. So SoFi announced an acquisition of a company called Galileo Financial Technologies in April 2020. And so Galileo are slightly different. So Galileo, so the acquisition was for 1.8 billion in cash and stock. So it's fairly significant. And Galileo was founded by a guy named Clay Wilkes in 2000. He's still the CEO. So it's 2000, and so he's been the CEO for 21 years. He's founded it 21 years ago. And in the agreement, when they made the acquisition, Galileo was they were told to continue to operate independently. So it's not as if they acquired them and...
Oh, so it's run yourself still.
Exactly.
And don't
so
integrate.
The same guy who founded it is still the CEO, and they still provide the separate service that they provide. So the other really cool thing about Galileo is it's basically profitable since it started. It just bootstrapped from the start. It didn't really take a lot of capital initially. And so they came to the party with 50 million customers, which was really cool. And they basically, for the most part, obviously in that 50 million, a lot of it is just consumer business. But their bulk of revenue is business-to-business customers. And so what they do is they provide basically the back-end work for these neobanks to provide the platform. So, for example, some of their customers include Chime Banking, Robinhood, which we just spoke about, Monzo, and TransferWise. So 2 of those are US-based, the last 2 are UK-based. And so they had a really good customer base in the UK as well, which was another tick on the acquisition box. Because obviously SoFi is just really based in the US. So that allowed them to expand using the contacts and customer base that Galileo had in the UK. And it allowed them to utilize, because basically SoFi is just a neobank, so they just basically provide the platform, the products, the customer acquisition, the customer service, the app, all of those things, but they need someone else to provide them with the back-end support to actually manage the money side of it. And so that's what Galileo basically specializes in. So for them to be able to acquire them, it means they can utilize their services as part of the agreement. So obviously, running costs and all these things, they're not having to pay a third party to do that. So that's pretty cool. And so that's a really good vibe. Galileo seems like a very, very awesome company.
They've brought everything in-house essentially by having a partner who they also own.
Yes, correct.
And all right, and it's going well for them.
Yeah,
obviously.
it's like you're working. It's like you have someone who mows your lawn and he's really good at it, and
he's
you've
also
got a lot of
employed by your other company.
You've got a lot of lawn, and so you just decide to put him on the books instead of paying him every time, and so that's kind of what they did. And so there's a fund called Accel Partners, and they announced a $77 million investment into Galileo in April 2019. And it's a little bit significant because they've invested in some really great companies. For example, there's an app called 1Password on your phone. I actually personally use it. They invested in them. They invested in Atlassian, which is a really cool Sydney-based tech company. And they also they also invested in a business called GoFundMe, which you've probably seen.
Yeah.
Online.
It's like Kickstarter.
It's like Kickstarter, yeah.
Kickstarter for people who don't actually have a good idea. They just want money from someone.
Potentially.
To go to Mexico.
Okay, so the services that they offer is quite broad, but I'll just run through them super quick to give you an idea of what they do. So Neobank, they have a bunch of products, and the first one's called SoFi Money, which is just like their account. It's their money account. So there's no fees, and there's no ATM fees in 55,000 banks across Australia. Sorry, across the world, including Australia. Not including Australia. I think it does include, the closest it gets to Australia is Hong Kong at the moment.
I mean, if you have to fly to Hong Kong to do your banking, you're kind of a baller. So I
Well,
endorse
it's
it.
probably not. SoFi's not really something you'd, as a customer, use in Australia yet.
Yeah.
But one day it'll get here.
Yeah.
One day we'll fly to Hong Kong to do our banking.
Possibly.
Mm.
Another product is SoFi credit cards. There's no annual fee, and they also provide a 2% unlimited cashback for use on their platform. So, you spend a whole bunch of money using your credit card, they give you 2% cash back, and then you can't necessarily take that and just spend it, but you can use that to pay down a loan that you might have with them, or you can use that to put in a savings account and stuff like that. So that's kind of cool. I don't know if other credit cards offer that before. I don't have a lot of experience with them, but it seems cool. They have another one called Sofi Relay, which is like a money tracking budgeting product. They also include on that credit score monitoring, which is kind of cool, particularly in the US. Credit score is very important.
True.
SoFi Invest. So this is really cool. They include on this same app and platform where you're doing all those other products, you've also got ETFs and crypto and equities that you can trade.
That's something that's cool to have in a banking product, because
Yes.
one thing I found with a lot of Australian banks,
Yes.
I think that there are two, and it's probably because of regulations and a lot of difficulty there as well,
Yeah.
but CommSec and
Yeah.
NAB,
Yeah.
NAB Trade,
Mm.
are the only two bank-affiliated, like...
Oh, in Australia.
they're the only serious ones.
Yeah.
So...
And it's
And it's-
that's really just a bank buying someone else's brokerage, right? Like CommSec, for example, did they make that?
yeah.
Oh, they did?
I think so,
They're
yeah.
not CommSec International.
I think that they're two... Well, no, that's a separate company.
Okay. Yeah, exactly.
So,
very
what I'm
strange
saying
to
is,
me.
to do international, they run through a different
Right.
company
Okay.
called Pershing Square or something.
Yeah.
But that's their international. But this
Okay.
CommSec, the actual CommSec, I
Yep.
think, is run by Commonwealth Bank.
Okay.
And it's like it's a division or whatever.
Okay.
But only two. But it's something that is traditionally associated directly with banking.
Yep.
So I think maybe in Australia it's just a kind of a different vibe in
Mhm.
general. But yeah, you'd think that there would be a lot more banks that are doing that. Maybe it's just not profitable enough. Like
Yeah.
it must not just be a good
I-
idea in Australia.
I think you might
Well,
be right.
CommSec International's trading fees are through the roof.
Yeah. CommSec fees in general are through the roof.
Well, yeah, it's not too bad. Like you get $19.99 for over $1,000, but that was the typical. Like there are still brokers in the US that are doing $30 per trade.
Oh, really?
So and they're obviously losing customers, but
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, and then there's the people like our friend Dylan, who the way he trades is he literally calls up someone and makes the trade like that. Like
that's a very
it's
like,
old fashioned, but it's
Wow.
that's an expensive way to do it.
I mean, that was the main
What's that
way.
cost you?
I don't know what the cost is.
Yeah, I mean, you get the customer care. You get,
Something.
hey, don't do that.
I think he also gets.
Don't do that.
I think he
Don't buy
probably gets
GameStop.
recommendations and stuff like that
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well. But yeah, it's interesting. Like there's all different ways you can go.
Does
I
he
suppose.
buy individual shares
No,
that
sorry,
way?
they're ETFs.
They're ETFs.
Yeah.
But he physically calls someone and
Yeah,
says,
he calls someone.
hey, buy
Yes,
ETFs now.
That's what happens.
That's so funny.
Yeah,
I didn't know he called.
I think it's more. Yeah, he calls. I think it's more along like I think he calls. Like
Yeah.
it's definitely like either an email or a call or something.
Yeah.
And
Of all the people to not want to call someone, you would think
yeah,
that. Yeah. Anyway. Yep.
and so I think it's kind of like, oh, I've got like 10 grand now. Like, can you help me? Oh yeah, you should put it on these things. Okay, cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I'll buy these things.
It's the traditional like. That was the most common method until
Yeah.
I don't know 2000.
Well, back in the age of not
2007,
having
yeah.
information, now we're in the information age. You can.
Yeah, but even
Decide.
until the 10, 15 years ago,
really?
that was the kind of main way
Yeah,
to
right.
do stuff. I think.
Okay. Okay, so moving along, another product they offer, which is really just relevant to the US, is student loan refinancing. Now, this really interests me, and I feel like I need to research this more because it seems just insane, but it might be true. So, the average US federal student loan rates for study, right, at college, as they call it,
College.
is from 4.6 to 7.2% interest rate on these loans, right? Which is crazy because, like, if in Australia we have a help debt or hex debt or whatever it's called,
Yeah.
and there's no
Hex help.
interest on it, is there?
It goes up by CPI, so it goes up by about 1.3%.
Right.
And
So
that's
for them
essentially
to
the
have
only interest,
7%, that seems huge.
Well, yeah, the reason is because it's based on, so they don't do it through the government, they do it through JP Morgan
Right.
and different banks.
Okay.
And think about a mortgage rate in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Like 5 years ago, you would have had the lowest rate on a mortgage in the US or in anywhere in the world would have been like 4.5%, 5% kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so probably a lot of those rates would have set 5 years ago. Well, on average, the average college student got their student loan,
Yes.
I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of them that would have got it 10 years ago at 7.2%.
Yes.
And so that's still on the books because they're still paying for it because of all
Yes.
that exorbitant interest.
Yeah.
And so if you think about it like that,
Yeah.
I think it makes a lot more sense that
Okay.
they're paying that kind of rate. And also, if you get a mortgage, you're securing it against a property.
Correct. Yeah, you're not
Whereas with a degree, you're
securing it against your brain.
Yeah. And you
Um,
could just die. So
yes. Okay, so obviously SoFi saw an opportunity here. So they came in, undercut the JP Morgans who were taking these loans, and they do a 2.99 fixed interest rate on anyone who wants to refinance their student loan, which is great, right? If you've got a 7% interest. They do personal loans starting at 5.9%, which isn't bad. I feel like I got a car loan a couple of years ago, and it was like 15% or something crazy.
didn't you get it on? Wasn't it unsecured though?
Yeah, it was unsecured.
Yeah.
I only had it for like two or 3 months. So
Yeah.
I don't care. But I was amazed at the interest rate.
Yeah.
They do home loans, 5% minimum deposit. I mean, the US is crazy on that kind of stuff. SoFi Protect, so they do life insurance, auto insurance, homeowners insurance, renters insurance. They do SoFi at Work, so they provide a dashboard, which is like a financial hub for employees. They can see what's going on. And they do small business financing as well, so small loans for small businesses. So, a lot of products, a lot of them disrupting different facets of the banking industry, which is cool. A little bit of performance is over $200 million in net revenue in Q3 2020. And they are on track for $1 billion of adjusted net revenue for 2021, which is 60% year-on-year growth.
That's
from
incredible.
2020.
So they're growing. They're a financial that's growing.
Correct.
That's surprising.
Yes. I mean, it might be because they keep on acquiring other businesses. I don't
True.
know. But either way, looks good for the books. And then just wrapping up is a little bit about the share stuff. So what I haven't really mentioned is that they are still currently a private company.
Yeah.
But talking a bit more about the SPAC. So they're going public via...
Can you explain the acronym first?
Yes. So SPAC means Special Purpose Acquisition Company. And so basically in this situation, a guy named Chamath, who runs an organization called Social Capital, he's done this a bunch recently.
I like Chamath.
Yeah, he's a cool dude. And so he runs a really cool podcast as well, which we referred to earlier.
And he posted a thirst trap on Twitter for anyone who follows him. He's a very fit boy now. I don't think
Really?
he ever was like that.
All right.
But now he got really shredded.
Oh, cool.
And then posted a Twitter.
Lol.
And he's just like,
Good on him.
yeah. So
All power to him.
So he was getting shredded the other day in his podcast.
Dang.
By the other guys.
Yeah, right.
They were like, "Ooh, any thirsty girls, in your
Lol.
DMs after after that."
So anyway, so Social Capital create this SPAC, and it's just a shell company. It has I don't know, I think this one has 3 directors and that's it who kind of work at the company. It's not really a real company. And then basically they start talking about what their acquisition targets look like or their merger targets. And they released sometime at the start of the year or the end of last year that this particular one was going to be this company called SoFi. And so at this point, people buy into the SPAC, which is the ticker symbol for this particular one is IPOE. He has a bunch of other ones, which are IPOF, IPO, different other things.
What does that mean? Is that the that symbol? Is that the round of funding that they're up to? Are we talking like Series A, Series E?
Oh, you mean the E at the end?
Is that what it means?
I don't know what that. I think it's just projects or SPACs. that they've done.
Yeah.
So
So
this
it's
is
his
E,
own little-
then the next one is F.
But it's not an official ticker if it's not.
It's a ticker.
Oh, so it actually is on the market.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said it was private.
The SPAC. I'm talking about the SPAC.
Oh, okay.
So the SPAC is on the
But SoFi
exchange. No, so basically what will happen here is there's so within Q1 of this year, which is sometime in the next month, basically, the two companies will merge, and anyone who owns a share in the SPAC, which has the ticker symbol IPOE,
Right. Okay.
will get a share in SoFi.
Okay. Yeah.
Because they will become one.
Makes sense.
And so why this is cool is because it's a much quicker way to go public. So previously, history shows that a lot of companies will IPO and they'll kind of like there's probably a whole bunch of marketing around that and making sure that they're making the most, they're not leaving any money on the table. And there's probably just a lot of hoops to jump through and finding someone to do the IPO for them and all these things, right? It's much easier to just merge with a company who's already public. So, and particularly when it's a guy like Chamath who owns the company that's public, it has backing already. Like if nothing else, if nothing even financially, it has the backing of people who know that Chamath is going to invest or merge with companies that he believes in.
Yep.
Because if you look into social capital, his whole stance is like changing the world, like finding companies that are actually going to make a difference in the world and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And companies like Tesla and stuff like that who are changing, energy and stuff. So anyway, it has IPO'd, the SPAC IPO'd in October at about $10 a share. It's now at $22.50 a share, which is about 118% increase, which is all right if you bought it. But still keeping in mind that people who aren't aware of the situation will see a change of that ticker to SoFi, and then there's every chance that that stock could really increase because people understand what company it is they want to invest into that company. They might not understand what's going on at the moment.
Yeah.
As it's a SPAC.
Do you hold any of this share?
I do.
Yeah.
No, you think it's a buy?
Yeah.
And
Cool.
the reason that he thinks it's a buy is because he owns about 8 shares at a time. And so, or I don't know how many you've got on the book at the moment.
Yeah,
but,
it's about that.
But you often try and keep it as consolidated as
Yeah.
possible, which
Yeah.
means it's a definite buy from Nathan.
Yeah.
Not that that's financial advice.
So if anyone,
disclaimer.
I don't know if anyone's interested. I basically sold Roku to buy IPOE because I was done with it.
Wow.
But the increase was good, like probably 120%.
On Roku.
Yeah.
And Luke was on the last episode where we talked about Roku. Not the
Yeah, I talked about it. It will come out just before this episode.
Yeah.
And I do think it's a cool company, but I don't think it's world-changing stuff. And I sold it, and I was happy with that. And it'll continue to go up, I'm sure. But I just don't think it holds the opportunities that some of these other companies do.
And Chamath is a very clever guy, so
think
he's
he is.
someone who's worth investing in.
I just wanted exposure to him and what he's doing. And
Yeah.
he had a whole bunch of different SPACs at the moment, and this was one that I could believe in. And so I don't have a lot of exposure to fintech. So
Say his last name if you're a true fanboy.
Palihapitiya. I don't know. That's
very
bad.
good.
That's very rude.
That's very good. We're leaving that in.
So with this consolidated portfolio,
Yeah. Okay, we'll talk about that.
do you think this podcast really pushes you to kind of do extra research and find new shares that are good investments?
Good question. So, yes, one of the reasons that we like doing this podcast, or even me personally, is because even if no one listens, I really enjoy doing the research and understanding companies well to make decisions. Because, as you're saying, for me, the way I usually invest in a company is I kind of like the idea of something, or I'm trolling through like different business or different companies that are public on the brokerage that I use. I find something, I love the idea of it, the concept seems good, I might buy a share, 30, 50, $100, whatever it is, and then I'll go and sort of do a bunch of research and watch it and increase dollar cost average. My position on that. And
once you got skin in the game, it's a lot easier
Correct.
to care about what you're looking at.
Correct. Yeah. And I should mention that there's a lot of other companies that don't even make the cut. So there's a lot of companies in my watch list that go, oh, they look really cool. But when I find something that's sitting in the watch list for a while, or something I haven't been aware of that I add, it's usually intentional. And yeah.
I've got Taco Bell in my watch list, and I've had it there for the last 2 or 3 years.
Surely it's never going to make the leap.
It hasn't. I haven't made the leap yet. I'm still looking into it. It's actually Yum Brands.
Yeah, that's true.
Yum.
It's like KFC as well, right?
It's KFC as well.
Yeah.
How is its gains over the last 3 years?
It's been good, actually. It's been surprisingly good.
Yeah.
I don't regret not jumping in because I've made more gains on other things.
Yeah,
but
opportunity cost, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And you got to consider these things. That's my first point. My second point is that the interview, the guest has become the interviewer. That was a very nice question.
True, that was a good question.
Yeah.
I'm happy to leave it at that. So, cool company. I do own a little bit. I would say that it's a very, very small amount. It's a very, very small percentage of my portfolio, and but it's enough to have some exposure. So I'm happy with that.
Nice.
I like the SPAC.
Cool.
Very good.
Nice. I'm definitely getting sunburned, but that's all right.
Getting better.
Yeah.
I'm doing two things.
The problem that I have is that it's more boring when it's at one speed.
And Nathan is an extremely efficient person.
Well, I'll be...
I know, you're considering all the topics and you're thinking about them in depth.
But I'm also thinking about...
But I just stop thinking about them and I start thinking about something else.
When
I'm like, are you still saying that sentence?
Oh my gosh. You're the worst.
Maybe we should or just talk at 1.5.
So I was looking at the Carnival Cruises.
Whoa. Don't give it all away. All right, I want to hear it. All right, here we go, Luke. What do you got?
Carnival Cruise Lines is what I'm talking about.
Okay.
So it's a public company on the New York Stock Exchange with the ticker code CCL.
Okay.
It was founded in 1972.
Wow.
By Ted Arison.
Oh.
And they started off with one ship.
Yep.
What was the name of that ship?
The Mardi Gras.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it had a capacity.
How progressive
of
for their time?
Very progressive.
Wow.
The capacity of the ship was about 2,800 people, staff and guests included in that number.
Okay.
So
is he still involved in the business?
No.
Okay.
So they IPO'd in 1987.
Right. Do we need to explain what IPO means?
Yeah. So actually, I had a fan reach out to me the other day and ask what IPO meant. Initial public offering. Yeah. That's when the share goes from private to public.
Yeah, like the company.
People are allowed to go and invest in it on on a lot of markets, and they can buy and sell it as much as they want.
Yeah.
Whereas before it was just owned by a few people.
Yeah. So it's like restricted to only really like institutional investors when it's private, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And there's all this paperwork and whatever, and then
So you go and start a company in your garage folding paper, and you make $1 million a year.
Yep.
No one can instantly buy shares in your company.
Correct.
There's a process.
Yes.
It's called IPO. So
and SPAC is one method to becoming a public company. Okay, sorry.
Cool. So IPO in 1987, July the 31st, for $3.87.
Wow, they've been a public for a long time.
They have.
Wow.
For $3.87 and a half per share.
$3.87 and a half.
Their market cap, does anyone want to have a guess?
$3.87 and a half. What do you mean?
Yeah,
$3.87.5 cents.
Wow.
$3.87.
So half a cent was the thing in...
Apparently. Anyway, what do you think their market cap was when they IPO'd?
All right. So they've got... Do they still only have one boat at this point?
No.
They've got a few.
I tried looking this up and I could not find how many.
We're expecting they have a few boats at this point.
I'd say so, yeah.
Okay. Do you want to guess?
What is this? Are we talking about IPO market cap?
1987 IPO market cap.
At $3 something a share. 1987.
I'm going to guess $200 million.
Whoa. I'm not gonna, whoa. Okay, sorry.
It's 9 point something. He didn't let Nathan guess.
$9.7 thousand.
9.7 thousand.
It's clearly $9.7 million.
9.45 million. I should have let you guess.
He started saying 7.
All right. Well, yeah. So market cap was $9.45 million at IPO.
Bro, that's like some companies. Like that's the guy who runs Google. I feel like that's like his annual compensation.
Yeah,
nowadays.
it's a very small amount, but it was 1987.
True.
So
it's probably worth $1 billion now.
Since then, you reckon? That's all?
I don't think that's true.
Since then, it's had 2 stock splits, 2-for-1 stock splits.
Ooh, what does that mean?
You get 2 shares.
Yeah. So if I own
1 share.
Yeah. So if I own one.
Yes.
Just the price changes, or the price changes as well, right?
Well, the price splits in half.
Okay, so if it's $100,
you still have the same value.
I get 2 shares, and they're $50.
Yep.
And do you guys know why? Like, why would they do that?
I wouldn't No. I'd say no.
I think. Come on.
I mean,
Luke,
as they grow, they want to reduce the price so that more people can buy in. Make it more affordable for the individual
particularly
investors.
At that point, there was no fractional exchanges where you could buy fractional shares.
Well
right?
then.
So if you've got a company that's $1,000 a share, no one can buy it.
That's a good point.
So, yeah. Anyway.
So their splits were in 1994 and 1998.
Okay.
And their current stock price is $24.93 US.
Jeez, that's not much.
So since their IPO, it's a 2,573% gain.
Oh, when you say it like that.
Yeah, well.
Not bad.
Seems like it's pretty good.
What's that, current like market cap, $24.32 billion.
$24 billion. That's a lot.
Yeah.
So is that... Do you know if that's a higher... And you might not know the answer to this one. Is that a higher growth than the S&P 500 in that time?
That's a good question.
I would say so.
He
45
would say so.
years and...
it's
got to be over 50% a year on average.
Oh, well, it's a low number. It's a low number per year. Like 10% per year can end up as 2,000% return in 40 years. I don't know. I don't actually know what the numbers are, but yeah.
You actually know?
No, I don't actually know what
okay. You actually know, but you're not
telling
us.
Yeah, I know what it is. I'm keeping it to myself.
Sorry, continue. That's a tricky question.
Over 34 years,
yeah,
the price has gone up 2,573%.
34 years. Okay.
So it seems to be better, I would say.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
better.
when you say it like that, it seems like it would be.
A lot better.
But I don't know.
Okay.
There's a little research question for all our listeners.
Very good.
It's probably an easy one to Google.
Look it up yourself and find out.
Yeah.
A little bit about the company today. The CEO is Arnold Donald.
What?
He's been the CEO
the old two first names, eh?
Arnold Donald.
You never trust someone with two first names.
Donald.
Sorry.
He's been the CEO for almost 8 years.
That's a no from me.
Started in
I've heard that one
July
before,
2013.
Sorry.
They currently have 26 vessels in their fleet.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
And the average build cost per ship.
Yeah.
I thought you said you looked it up and you couldn't.
The range.
No, back then.
The build ship.
Back.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Okay, right, yeah.
The build cost per ship ranges from $225 million to $950 million.
Wow, that's a lot.
So their most expensive ship is now, it's a new ship.
Yeah.
And it's also called the Carnival Mardi Gras.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
And that was completed in late 2020.
Oh, right. So they're still building ships in 2020.
They are. Surprisingly.
That is a surprise.
They must have some good cash in the bank.
Yeah.
You reckon they started it in 2018 and they were like, well, we might as well finish
I'm sure it takes a few years.
Yeah, I think that's probably true.
That one was almost $1 billion to build, which is crazy.
$1 billion.
The capacity of the ship is 5,282 passengers, including staff and guests.
Bigger than some small towns around here.
It's quite big. And up until the 20th of February last year, which is actually a year from today back,
that is.
They used to pay a small dividend of about 1.2%, something like that.
Oh, okay.
But because of the coronavirus, they've stopped paying a dividend on that date, which they were massively affected by the coronavirus.
Yes.
I've got some numbers here, some financial numbers.
They actually instigated it here in Australia to a certain extent.
Was it Carnival specifically?
I think it was.
I think it was the Lady Princess or something.
Is that Carnival though?
Ruby Princess. That's
Ruby Princess.
I don't know.
Where was that? Was it in Victoria?
Was it here?
No, it was in Sydney.
I think that
was in Sydney.
I think that was Carnival.
So for our international viewers, what happened? So there was like a boat that came in and they were supposed to get tested or something. And then they just let them all off the boat, basically, right?
Yeah.
A bunch of them had coronavirus.
They're just like, we can't get in trouble for this. We're just going to let them off.
They just let them off.
They did get in trouble for it.
And then they did some big investigation. I don't know if anything's come of it, though. Maybe it's still going. Sorry.
Well, their numbers are pretty evident.
You got some numbers?
Based on the coronavirus
what do you got?
times.
Okay.
I've got some earnings per share for 2019.
Earnings per share?
Was $4.32.
Okay.
And they had 119,000 employees in 2019.
119,000
That's
employees.
incredible.
And now...
I suppose that's all the people who work on the boats. Yeah, okay.
Earnings per share in 2020...
Seems like a lot.
Was negative $13.20.
That's like 20% of Newcastle.
That's a lot.
Work for Carnival Cruises.
Yeah.
That is I know, so I looked this up a couple of years ago. I know that BHP had 130,000 employees.
Really?
So having almost as many as BHP, that's kind of crazy if you consider BHP has multiple mines all across the world.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, they have multiple boats, though.
Oh, true. Yeah, they got
have
multiple boats across the world.
Okay. All right. I'm getting so sunburnt.
Don't worry about it.
Anyway, so
complaining.
2019, they had 119,000 employees.
Yeah.
2021, does anyone... Here you go.
6.
Do you want to have a guess?
They got 6.
How
I reckon.
many?
6.
6. They don't have 6.
They have more than
let me
6.
guess. No. Oh, yeah, there we go. I thought you were going to give it away
No.
again early. I'm going
Have a
to go
guess.
with 15,000.
Okay, well,
Oh,
What is it?
did I get it?
what do you think?
I told you.
He thinks 6.
You
He
think
thinks that they've
6?
got 6 people.
All right, well,
No,
one to
I'll
drive
guess.
each.
I'll
I thought
guess.
these-
I'll guess. So they had 119,000.
They're going to have at least one person to drive each boat. So they have to have 26.
But they don't need to drive.
The CEO and the secretary
True.
can drive
I was
one
a bit
each.
out there, wasn't I?
Yeah.
I'll say, because of your reaction to him saying 15,000, I'll say 50,000.
Okay, well, I thought these numbers were shocking, but based on your
What is it?
guesses, it's not that bad.
110,000.
No, they have 21,000 people working for them.
Oh, right. Oh, wow.
Oh, that is shocking.
That is
So they've had
pretty
a
shocking.
Wow.
Yeah.
100,
I'm
they've had
shocked.
98,000 people that they've had to let off
That's
or have
huge.
left in the last
Wow.
18 months, pretty much.
That's ginormous.
Crazy.
Yeah, think about how hard it is for the people
Which
that have gone.
ginormous is a word we use in Australia for huge.
Ginormous.
For anyone who's international.
That's huge-mungus. You know humongous?
And yes, well, I guess they've needed to cut
Oh,
costs because
Boomerang earlier.
Boomerang?
Yeah.
they've pretty much had no earnings
I don't know
all
what that
year
means. Wait,
for the
what?
last
They've
12
had
months.
no earnings. Yeah, true. I could relate.
Yeah, like I said, the earnings per share has gone from $4.32 in 2019 to minus $13.20 in 2020.
Oh,
In Luke's defense, I told him earnings per share was okay as a financial metric.
He did.
yeah, okay.
I was going to use
We don't
something.
usually talk about it, but that's fine.
I mean,
He asked, and I was like, "Yep, do
it
whatever
gives
you
you
want."
some kind of
Oh,
perspective.
no, when you give the two numbers like that, that's really good.
Yeah.
Yes. And in March was their lowest price, their lowest stock price,
Oh, yeah.
March 2020.
Yeah.
They went down to $7.80.
Okay. Do you know what it is now?
Yeah, $24.90 something.
Did you buy it?
No.
You did,
what?
didn't you? What?
I'll tell you about it.
What do you
Okay,
mean,
But
though?
their stock price has run up 315%
Yeah.
since then. So I am actually a manager of a few funds here, few people's
Oh, yeah.
money.
Yeah.
And I
We
manage
should
my
point out-
girlfriend's
we should
funds.
actually, we should point out Luke has multiple portfolios under his belt. No, we already got
Say that one again.
So look, I hear you manage multiple portfolios.
Yes. So
Luke,
my
do you manage
girlfriend.
multiple portfolios?
How many do you have?
So my girlfriend is
She's very trusting.
She's a pretty rich person.
trusting lady. Yes, let's say that. And
Particularly when you're buying
I
Carnival
manage
Cruises.
her. Well, yes. So I manage her portfolio as well as mine.
Okay.
I must say it's had a
Who's winning?
significant gain.
Not that it's a
She's
game.
winning
It's
because
it's obviously not a game, but
I don't
Who's
play
winning
around
between
enough.
you and you.
I just let her sit a lot more,
yeah.
and with mine, I kind of like play around with it all the time,
Okay.
stuff it up,
Yeah, that is the thing, isn't
and
it?
then I look at those meme stocks and I go, ooh, and then lose
Okay,
money.
so tell us your buy on the
Anyway,
Carnival
bought it
Cruises.
in at $12.50.
Oh, that's cheap.
Bought 20 shares.
Awesome.
Sold at $17.
Oh, that's a good trade.
Yeah. I mean,
How
it was
long-
fine.
Do you know how long you held it for? Like 6
A
months?
few months.
Yeah.
4 months, 5 months.
months, yeah.
Something like that.
That's a little gain.
I
like it.
Yeah, I also bought GME on her portfolio, not mine.
How's the FOMO of knowing that it's $24 now?
Oh, yeah.
Are you feeling
Not
alright?
that bad.
That's
Yeah.
good. That's good.
It's not
You
that
got to stay
much.
strong.
So is now a good time to buy it again, though?
I would not be buying it.
What's its all-time high?
With the vaccine going on.
All-time high.
Yeah,
I
you-
do
you
not
mentioned
have
it.
that here.
No, what's it go up to? You've mentioned it, haven't you?
I haven't.
No,
No,
he just mentioned the current price.
Oh.
24.
current price. Yeah.
We don't know the
It's
all-time
been
high.
near $60 per share. I
I'll
know
look
that
it up.
much.
Oh, wow.
Keep talking. I'll have a look.
Yeah, so I would not buy this share just because of the
Oh.
uncertainty of the coronavirus, and it's
Ah.
really
Because it wasn't uncertain before.
well, it's
He's showing a lot of
direct.
maturity since
I
5
bought
months
that
ago.
because of how low it was,
Yeah.
but it's and also it was just a bit of play money, but
It's a bit of fun, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
lots of fun. But it's directly affected by the coronavirus, and no one's going on cruises at the moment,
Mm.
especially with 5,282
I
other
just
people.
locked myself out here.
Oh, no. What, you can't get into your own phone?
I'm gonna have a look at the earnings per share here.
It didn't recognize my face with my glasses on it.
No.
Now what's my email and password? I can't remember what that
your
is.
email?
What has happened?
Are you joking? I don't have my phone here. I was going to look it up myself, but...
What's the all-time high?
I said I'm going to look at the earnings per share, but I meant the all-time high.
Okay.
So the all-time high of Carnival Cruises.
Yeah. Here we go.
69,420.
What do you guess? It probably is.
That's my guess.
69.
69,420.
Okay. 420.
420. 60. No, I don't guess that. That's way too high.
Wow.
What is it?
I cannot find it here.
Oh.
You got to get the little graph. You got to go to Google, get the little graph.
I mean, yeah, I could do that.
What are you using?
What
Stake?
No, I'm using Google, but I typed something else.
I
I didn't look at the
Definitely
chart.
would have just used steak. That's what
I tried Stake. It
would've
has
automatically
52-week
gone.
high.
Yeah, what's 52-week high?
Well, I don't have it in front of me now.
That'll still be
42.86.
Okay.
But
And it's
if
at,
I put
it's
it
at
in
24 now, is it?
if I put it in the graph,
27. What'd you say?
the highest price I can see here is 71.65
71.
in January 2018.
Right.
It was at 71, and it went all the way down to $7.80.
Imagine being your classic retiree that's just trying to make a bit of a dividend portfolio of safe, standard. Oh, I love Carnival Cruises. I go on Carnival Cruises all the time.
Yep.
You buy in at $70, an unexpected pandemic happens,
Goes to 7.
and then you really need the money, and you have to sell off a few shares, and it's like, oh,
Yes.
rough.
That would not be good.
Okay. Very good.
I mean,
Okay,
yeah, that's all I have to say.
Nathan has no feelings, so it doesn't matter. But
He don't care about old people.
Yep. No.
Well, thank you.
No, old people are good.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
Okay.
shout out to Dad.
Just generally, the concept of dad. Not specifically Isaac's dad, because he's very young.
To all dads.
I was talking about your dad who watches this podcast.
He's very young too, though.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Bunch of whippersnappers.
So,
Let's
great.
push on.
So it is it's a not buy. Is that right?
Oh, hell no.
Okay. You mean hell yes.
Unless you like a bit of risk.
I'm so sunburnt.
Don't worry about it. All right, I will be talking about the Bentley Bentego.
It's a sick car.
Okay, so it is a very nice car, and they've actually made some upgrades in the last year. The 2021 model is a bit different from previous ones.
All right.
The cheapest model you can buy is 340,000 AUD.
That's cheaper than the car I'm going to talk about.
Yeah. Okay. All right. It is. I mean, it's pretty. It's a budget. A budget car. If you think
budget
about
SUV.
it. Yeah, budget SUV. The most expensive one, I'm not 100% sure on this, but from what I could see, it goes up to about 560.
Oh wow. Okay.
But
that's expensive.
There's on top of that, there's extra badges.
Oh yeah.
First edition.
Okay.
They've got. I don't know what all the badge names are.
You probably got to pay another 500 in like luxury car tax as well.
Oh, legit. Yeah, you got to pay so much in Australia. But yeah, so around 340 to around 550 is what you're going to have to pay if you want to get it new.
Okay.
We've got 3 original engine sizes. So on the OG Bentley, because this car came out 5 years ago, I think.
Yeah, that's probably better, right?
2015, 2014 kind of vibe.
Yep.
So the original sizes were a 4-litre V8, a 4-litre V8 diesel, and a 6-litre W12.
Oh my goodness.
Which is pretty cool. But
that is very cool.
The new 2021 models, so they've just...
Let me guess, twin turbo V8 petrol.
No, but that was a good guess.
What is it?
Well, actually, no. I don't know if it's turbocharged. I think that it's not turbocharged.
Oh, okay.
The V8 option. All right, so we've got a hybrid model.
Oh, do they really?
So, yeah, this is the first year that they've had... So the lowest spec is the hybrid model.
Yeah.
Which is a 3-litre turbo...
Like the EcoBoost version.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
The 3-litre turbo, 250 kilowatt, and a 94 kilowatt electric motor.
Okay.
So it's decent.
That's still cool.
It's for the person that doesn't actually care. They want a nice Bentley Bentayga.
Yeah.
But they're not a car person.
No, they don't care about performance.
Yeah, for sure.
That's good.
Then we've got the standard V8 petrol. So
I
think that one's still the 4-litre V8.
Okay, yeah. Oh, so they've got rid of the big old W12.
No, and then we've got the Bentayga Speed, which is the W12 model.
Speed? That's a terrible name.
Yeah, Bentayga Speed, yeah. Yeah, so obviously it goes
Sounds
fast.
like a Hot Wheels car, to be honest.
Goes a little bit fast, you know.
Wow.
Bentayga speed, yeah. So it comes in a 4-seat or a 7-seat.
Yeah, 4. Okay, yep.
Yeah, so
yeah, like
sit
with
on
the
your luxury
handrest
throne.
thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Luxury throne,
Yeah.
champagne cooler kind of vibe.
Or like 3 kids.
It comes in a 4-seat and and a 7-seat. So obviously one in the middle and then 2 in the back, I guess.
Yeah.
And so that's fun.
Okay.
So the speed model which is the W12, does 0 to 100 in 3.9 seconds. Impressive for something that is moving mountains to actually move.
Okay, let's just compare that. You keep talking. I'm going to look at my figures from the RSQ8.
Yeah, so I think that the RSQ8 was a 3.2 from memory. So obviously it's not, but you got to think about a Bentley. They're building this thing to be.
What was your 0 to 100?
It was 3.9.
3.8.
3.8. It's only 0.1.
Yeah.
So that's actually surprising because a Bentley is built to be a mammoth of a machine. Like it's built to be big and heavy.
Yeah.
And
it's a tank.
Whereas Audis are making them to be fast and sleek. And
correct.
Yeah.
This is a twin turbo 4-liter V8.
Yeah. This one's the W12.
Yeah.
So
for what the Bentley is, it's quite impressive.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
I think it's going to be a lot more expensive though.
Yeah. I think the Audis are also. You got to consider that Audi is a sports brand.
How much did you say, like the W12 version would be? 500 and something, didn't you?
Yes, I think I saw it for 540 K.
Okay.
So significantly more than the RSQ8, I would say. Is it? That's what I would guess. Surely.
That's 185. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. You buy 2 RSQ8, 3 RSQ8s, whatever. But it's about the presence. It's about what you see.
Oh, it's definitely about the badge, and it's
Oh, yeah.
No.
Yeah, and
good.
so it comes with optional carbon ceramic brakes as well.
Yeah, okay.
So if
that
you
was
want
the same on the RSQ8.
Yeah, so if you want to slow down,
do you know how much they are?
Your massive. No, I'm not sure.
10
about
grand
that
or something.
option. Yeah, probably more.
Probably.
And on the hybrid model, it comes with an optional regenerative braking system, which
oh
is pretty cool.
yeah.
So yeah, you can charge up the batteries from your braking, which is actually sick.
That's great.
It's very similar. I don't know. I think I've talked about before the KERS system on Formula One cars.
Yep.
Very similar to that.
Okay.
Comes in an all-terrain spec, which I thought was quite funny. If you're into that, that's cool for your Bentley.
Well, yeah. Props to you for taking your Bentley off road.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Goodness.
I wouldn't be doing that.
Yeah, no,
Neither.
yeah. So I actually watched a video a while ago of it versing a Range Rover going up a grassy hill in England.
Oh yeah.
Like a very slippery grassy hill.
Yeah.
And the Bentley was really struggling compared. The Range Rover just went immediately up and just workhorse climbed all the way up.
So would it be just kind of for cruising across some sand or something like that?
Yeah, it's mostly just for highway cruising and
if you live on a farm.
Yeah, okay.
And you've got like a bit of a dirt road leading up to your house.
Yep. Yeah. If you live on a farm and you need to tow a plough through a muddy bog, I think that's what the Bentley's for. So.
Well, I mean, the Range Rover has quite a heritage of
off-roading. They used to do so. A fun little Range Rover fact is that they used to do the craziest rally through like the Amazon.
Yeah, right. Oh, right.
And and they had a Range Rover event, and so I used to watch heaps of those. But yeah, they did they built heaps of special ones and did a whole convoy. And they were like all trying to get through the track.
True.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, anyway, so if you want the all-terrain, that's up to you. It's a little weird, but yeah, anyway, it comes with. All right, so here's something very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
The new brake lights are. All right, I'm going to show you. I'm going to get your reaction. Okay. These are the old brake lights. All right, so very cool.
That looks familiar.
Yeah, very big, thick, square kind of brake lights. You look at the new brake lights. Look at those.
Oh, true.
Oh, what's your thoughts? What are your thoughts? I personally way prefer the old to the new. So that's the new. They're keeping, and then that's the old one.
Yeah, the old ones look great.
The old ones are big, thick, square brake lights.
It's a trade-off. The new ones do look like it follows the suit of the new Bentley.
Yeah,
shapes.
So that's what it's trying to do. So they're trying to keep it in the family of
obviously,
Bentley
and
design.
and you can tell, and so I can appreciate that. But
Luke, you'll have to imagine that you saw it.
Yes.
But they're super oval. Actually, I'll describe it, and you'll be a listener. Very oval kind of shape now.
Yep.
And then huge, boxy, bougie style before.
Okay.
Straight to a more sleek, more oval design. So yeah, interesting that they've done that. But yeah, it's definitely a big change. So they've got a couple of little design things. Most of the design is pretty similar.
Yep.
Big, thick car.
Sick.
It's got it's got 22 jets in the windscreen for cleaning it, so that no spray gets anywhere else on the car.
Really?
And they're heated.
Oh, that's really cool.
So they're heated to
dang.
So warm water sprays out at the window to clean it really well. So that one is a funny little detail.
That's a great fact.
It's got cleaners for sensors, so that it doesn't come up with warning lights to say clean your sensors kind of thing.
Is that the first car that's done that? Or have you
I'm sure there've been other cars that have. I don't know.
I haven't heard of it.
I haven't heard of it before, no. But it's likely that a Rolls-Royce did it first or something, or a Mercedes. I don't know. But let's say it's the first, actually.
Just to name drop a few assumptions there.
Well, I have no idea, yeah. It's got the internal systems. It's got a knob. I like a good knob in a car. It can, so
what do you mean by that?
A knob, like a
gear selector.
No, like a knob, like a like a turning mouse
like
kind of
to control the settings and stuff.
Yeah. So it's got
okay.
Yeah, it's got a switch that switches between multiple.
Switch. It's got a knob and a switch.
I'm talking about the same thing. All right.
Oh.
It switches between terrain types. It's a circle.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and it's got a large central screen.
Yep.
Some of the materials they used to make it. They spent 2 years scouting in the Mississippi wetlands to find the right American red gum. So there's a fun fact.
For what purpose?
For the internal. So that's for the interior.
For the wood trim.
Yeah.
Imagine paying someone to do that.
Well, yeah, it's. I mean, you got to
search for 2 years.
Got to go above and beyond. The seats are made of a leather, which so the cows.
So it's not vegan.
No, I mean it comes in a vegan option now.
Does it?
I think it's the first year that they've ever done that. Yeah. But the seats are made of this leather. When I heard this the first time, I was like, "That's the coolest thing ever." But apparently, veganism is cool now. So the seats are made of a leather where the cows are grazed at a high altitude to avoid insect bites and avoid blemishes on the leather to make the leather perfect.
That's smart.
So the thrones that they're sitting on in the Bentley Bentega are very special and unaffected by the mosquitoes. So that's cool.
Very cool.
Very excessive.
Yeah, it's extra, but
it's
cool.
It's what you expect.
It's those details that people
It's the difference
love.
between an RSQ8 and a Bentayga.
Yeah, I mean that's why you're paying the big bucks.
None of this in the RSQ8.
No, definitely not. And I watched it. This next question is it quicker than an Audi S8? So
S8.
Yeah, the sedan.
Right.
Because.
Well, yes, it is.
That's what it's. Well, no, that's what it's coming up against. Because.
How is it coming up against an S8?
Well, all right. So the logic behind the video that I watched was that the big four-wheel drive luxury car is replacing the classic sedan luxury machine.
Yep.
So
does it also provide the same performance?
Does it also just provide the same performance? Yeah. So it was. So you're saying yes?
I'm saying definitely yes.
All right. So it raced the Audi. The Audi has a 4.2 liter V8.
Yeah.
And it lost.
Oh.
So it can't beat the S8.
Dang.
So you would think that it would.
I would have thought.
What's a S8 cost?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm just going to throw out $200,000.
Okay. Less,
probably.
Less.
You think so?
Yeah, less than 200. Yeah.
You reckon
I can
it
buy an
costs
RSQ8 for what did I say? 185.
Okay, a lot less than.
And you would buy an S8
Bentley.
for more.
You'd buy an S8 for less than RSQ8.
You think so?
Yeah.
The S8 is the top line car that they make. Like that's the high end luxury.
Okay, keep talking.
I don't know. I get what you're saying. Like I know that an S6 would obviously be less.
Okay.
And an S4 would be like way less.
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna I'm guessing that an S8 is more.
Okay.
All right, you look up.
I am.
Keep researching.
I will.
Yeah, don't stop researching because of me.
Okay.
Okay.
Keep talking.
I don't have anything else to say. That was my last point.
All right. Okay. Oh wow.
What can you see an S8 for?
290.
That's what I thought.
Oh my
See?
goodness.
It's the top of the range car that they make. It's gonna be fast.
Still,
I would not expect
significantly less than almost half the price of a Bentley.
Yeah, but the S8 is that's the Mercedes SL 500. That's like the equivalent of the.
Whoa, it's okay. Crazy. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
There you go. So one of the cool things I'll mention.
Obviously,
a cool fact.
obviously the R8 is the.
Well, yeah,
the most
but like
expensive.
it's the top luxury cruising limousine kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, a cool fact about the S8: when I saw a test with a brick wall flying at it, like they had the brick wall on tracks, and they had and it was like ramming towards it as though the car was sliding into a brick wall.
Yeah.
and the whole car pumps this is on the Audi S8. The whole car pumps suspension into the side that's about to hit at the very last second, pumps the suspension up on its side so that the car rolls to protect the driver and protect the passengers.
Wow.
Pretty cool.
That is cool.
So it's got some ingenious tech, but let's move on to our last segment.
All right, so I've been having a look at the BMW M8 Competition. So they do... Okay, so the 8 Series replaces the 6 Series.
Such a funny name.
What is? The M8?
Mate.
Oh, mate. Yeah, okay.
Mate.
I didn't think of that. True. So this is the BMW M8 Competition. And so they do obviously like lower spec. So the lowest spec 8 Series you can get is the M850i. And then it goes up to the M8 and then the M8 Competition. So I'll mainly be talking about the Competition because it's the M8 Competition is currently BMW's most expensive car. And it is very expensive. It is...
Is it more expensive than an Audi S8?
Yes.
Nice.
It is more expensive than some R8s.
Wow.
Yeah. So it is $390 to $400K. And it's $100K more than the M5 Competition, which is pretty crazy. And so it's all-wheel drive. It's 617 horsepower.
Are these prices Australian?
Yes.
Okay.
750 newton meters and 0 to 100 in 3.2 seconds. So the RSQ8 was 3.8. What you were talking about, the Bentayga was 3.9, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so this is 3.2.
And that's a and so to get an idea of the M8, because I don't know if I've actually seen this. Is this a huge sedan?
It's a two-door sedan.
Oh, it's like one of those. So
Coupe.
Coupe.
It's like a two-door coupe.
Yeah.
It's got back seats, but there's really only room for kids.
Yeah.
And from the reviews I was looking at, it seems to be trying to rival the 911.
Is it a similar shape to... There's a 6 going around that's also a coupe. It kind of goes around
a 6
Series?
A little bit.
Yeah, 6 Series.
I don't know.
Oh, you haven't seen that? Okay,
No.
don't worry. Pretend I didn't say anything.
Okay, cool. So it's a twin-turbo V8. And just for reference, the M850i has 520 horsepower. The M8 has 590 horsepower, and this Competition version has 617. So a few more. So it's got a few interesting things. I'll run through them. So it's got backlit M8 logos in the headrests. In the headrests. So when you open the door, they kind of like come on the headrests.
Yeah,
that looks kind of cool. There's like this blue waterfall lighting around the doors and the dash, which we've talked about a few times on a few cars.
Yeah.
Now. But a cool feature that this has is when you open the door, the blue light on that particular door starts flashing red. The idea is it's like a safety thing for when you're opening the door. And
they just wanted some fun programming, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the lighting programmer just wanted to find some cool features.
Yeah.
So it's got a B&W, which is Bowers & Wilkins sound system, which is actually an optional upgrade. So that's the top of the line version. And the speakers themselves have a light in them, which turns on when you've got the stereo on. So they're kind of in the doors.
Say B&W.
B&W.
Okay.
Is the brand. It's like a pretty well esteemed brand. It's an old brand, like it's something your parents would know.
Yeah.
And
that's in the BMW.
It's in a BMW. Yeah, true. And it's got like these little lights in the speakers, and they turn on when the stereo's on. It's kind of weird, but it's kind of cool. It obviously has multiple modes, as all new cars do nowadays. So it's got an M mode button, which is in the center console. And you can flick between just road, sport, and if you hold it, you get to the track setting. And within the modes, you can configure the chassis and the steering, and you can configure the brakes, so the grab point on the brakes.
Oh, yeah.
How, like, if you're the way you drive, you might want to, be harder on the brakes or less hard or whatever. You can change the engine.
They love customization on the BMWs, hey? They've always been super into configuring it exactly how you want to.
Exactly. And for $400,000, maybe you'd expect that. And the drivetrain, you can make it fully rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive in track mode. So then within track mode, you can create 2 presets. And the idea is there's M1 and M2, and they're on the steering wheel, kind of where your thumbs are.
Yeah.
The idea is you might have like highway is like M1 or track is M1.
Yeah.
And then like windy back roads is M2, and it might
Yeah.
change how soft the suspension is or whatever it is. So you can have 2 different settings, with bumps, without bumps. On the roads, whatever.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. And it has gesture control, which is something I have not seen in a car before.
Sounds like Neo.
Yeah, it sounds similar, right? So if you want to turn the volume of the radio up,
Oh my gosh.
you can, where the infotainment screen is, you can just spin your finger like this. And it turns the volume up.
That's
If you spin it
almost
like
more
this.
effort.
Yeah.
What if you miss the spot that you need to do?
I'm not saying it's a good thing. And it has another gesture
It's
where
innovative.
you've got to learn these gestures too, right? So then there's another gesture if you do a thumbs up and then turn it to the side, and in front of the infotainment screen do like this.
It starts doing a power slide. It starts.
It skips to the next radio station or
Yeah.
skips to the next track.
That sounds like hard work. Yeah.
Instead of pressing one button.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot harder than just pressing skip on the steering wheel.
Yeah.
But anyway, it has climate control rules.
Oh.
So I really, really like this.
Oh yeah.
So this is the feature of like, if the temperature is below X degrees, automatically turn on heated seats, automatically put aircon on this, all those kind of things.
Yeah.
The idea is the person who's driving the car doesn't have to change anything.
Yeah.
And then along those same lines, it has a setting called Caring Car.
Caring car.
Which 2 presets that you can just select.
Yeah.
One of them is called Vitalize. And both of these presets adjust the lighting, the climate control, and the music. And this particular one called Vitalize activates the driver. And it puffs the air in little puffs towards the driver. And it changes the music to something that activates the driver. The second one is called Relax, which is the other option. And this de-stresses the driver. The driver. And it plays
so
some
sleepy they crash into a
specific
tree.
music. And so the idea is, as a driver of the M8 Competition, do I want to relax? So do I want to change the settings of the aircon? Do I want to change the music? Do I want to change all these things? Or do I want to just click a button that says relax?
Yeah.
It's it's like a preset on a massage chair.
It's quite funny. Yeah.
And so that's a few
Innovative.
interesting things. It has a drive recorder. This is a simple piece of tech which hasn't been included in a lot of new cars recently, but we should start seeing soon, which is just both a manual and an automatic dash cam. So you can manually set it, or you can set it to automatically record every time
You don't have to get some aftermarket.
So you don't, because it's ugly, right?
Yeah.
It's taken them a while, but they've finally got through that. It's like back when the phones didn't have flashlight on it,
Yeah.
So if you invest or own some sort of dash cam company, you might want to get out of that business. So increasing from the technology you were talking about in regards to beefing up the suspension on the side where you're going to have a collision.
Yeah.
They have side collision warning with steering intervention.
Yeah. Right.
So it automatically steers away from anything that's going to hit you on the side.
Yeah.
So if you're going to get T-boned, it'll try and steer away.
Yeah.
If there's a car merging over or whatever. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It has.
Can you break your wrists doing that?
I don't know how abrupt it is.
Well, yeah. If someone's about to hit you on the side, you would want an abrupt steering assist.
I agree. And if you've got your fingers in the steering wheel,
you could break
a finger.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, I agree. It might not be abrupt. Maybe it's just to lessen the impact or something.
Yeah.
It does have obviously some sort of automated driver system. So it's got 2 parts to it. It's got a camera which faces the driver in the cluster, and it just focuses on your eyes and determines whether or not you're focusing on the road. If you are, then it allows the automated driving system to act, and it just drives at speeds under 65 kilometers an hour. So the idea is it's traffic jam. It's your traffic jam assistant is the way that they market it. And then above that 65 kilometer an hour speed is just adaptive cruise like every other car.
Yeah.
And then just a few other things. It has quite a deep boot. The idea behind that is literally for golf club storage.
Oh, yeah, sorry, yeah.
And
golf clubs.
And then specific to the competition version is some specific wheels, which you'll also find on the Competition M5. Some like a competition badge underneath the M8 on the back, which looks really cool. It's in black. And it actually has a carbon fiber roof, which looks awesome, maybe slightly lower as a center of gravity and allows it to handle a little better. So all in all, really, really cool car. It's somewhat of a niche market in regards to just being a 2-door coupe for $400,000. That
only golfers want it.
And yeah, maybe the market is, because I was going to say you could buy a lot for 400 grand, right?
Yeah.
You buy a supercar for that.
Yeah.
You could buy an Audi R8 for that, but you can't really get your golf clubs in it. So maybe the market is the older demographic who want a car that's going to be exciting and still be able to put golf clubs and stuff in the back. It's like a GT car.
Circling back to that setup stuff, I was actually watching one of the episodes of Top Gear just before Jeremy and Richard and James left.
Yep.
And it was one where they toured Italy.
Yep.
And it was really interesting because they it was one of their special episodes kind of thing.
Yeah.
And Jeremy was setting up a BMW M4. It was maybe the first year that they had the M4.
Cool, yeah.
He was setting it up, and he was saying that they had all these sport functions and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the sport function made the car so razor sharp and so silly that it was like impossible to steer it because it was like
really.
He said that the steering wheel was like an on and off switch.
Wow.
Because it was just like immediately full lock or nothing.
Yeah.
And so he said that he set it up to sports suspension, had the full sport mode on, except for the steering, which he left on full comfort.
Yeah.
And then with full comfort steering, he could precisely oversteer the car because it had so much give before it started moving the wheels kind of thing.
Yeah.
So he could perfectly set up the car in a way which made it easy to drive on a track.
Yep.
So yeah, it was funny that the more he went for the most comfort steering there.
True. But lucky they had that option because if they had have just made it a preset that you couldn't change, then obviously he would have had some bad reviews.
Yeah, because if you have an on-off switch for a track car, it's like, how are you going to specifically hit an apex? I don't know.
True.
Maybe he's just an idiot though. So
no, I feel like he knows.
He's driven a lot of cars. He's pretty smart. Yeah.
So there you go. That's the M8 Competition. Great car. I would have it. Wouldn't pay for it. I'd have it for free. It's not something I'd purchase, but yeah, cool car.
Yeah, I'd have it for free. Yeah. That's my conclusion as well.
And I'd probably sell it and buy an RS6.
Yeah, RS6, yes. So good.
Yeah. Cool.
Fit a lot of golf clubs in an RS6.
You would. And a bodies.
And that is a wrap. Thank you for listening to HQLA. It's the more income you make, the more power to you. Amen.
Good to know I'm not the only one who messes up the outros.